Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name's Luize. I am 21 years old. I am currently in college right now. As we speak, I am in here right now. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make this video, because I have been on social media for so long now. I've been posting on Snapchat since I was 10 years old. I'm 21 now. I'm a junior, by the way. I love Instagram. I love TikTok. I have 3 accounts on Instagram now. I have a personal, I have a Sarah Louise Talks, which is just a page that I like to share some pictures that I take or some readings, and sometimes I would do a little talk of just me saying something positive or something that I learned that day. But overall, social media is just something that I love doing. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, how can I share something that I've learned today, or how can I make someone's day better, or what should I, it's just something that's always been really natural for me. But one thing that I did notice is that I am not as honest as I could be, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys right now, because life is just hard. Life is extremely hard, and I am sensitive. So when I say that life is hard, I feel like it's harder for me because I'm feeling it so deeply. But then I'm like, other people might be feeling the same thing and I don't even know, because they're not talking about it. Same way I'm not talking about it, because all I do is post positive things, and people probably think that my life is so perfect and that I'm so extremely positive, which I am. Anyone who knows me can vouch for that. I really am glad to have been born with this bright mindset that even if I am in the trenches in a dumpster, I'm still like, okay, like everything's fine, like we're gonna be good. Because I've not only did I grow up like that, I'm gonna have to kneel on the chair. Not only did I grow up like that, just knowing that things, if you're positive about things, it'll get better. I also got into the law of attraction, and I've always been really spiritual, whether that was in religion or not. Ooh, hold on, I need to take a breather. Anyways, whether that was in religion or not, I've always been really spiritual. So positivity for me is just something that's natural. Like, if there's an issue, we're not going to complain about the issue and go crazy about it. Like, we're going to find a solution and solve it. However, being a very sensitive and emotional person, sometimes it's hard to stick to the point. Like, I'm feeling everything so deeply, and my first reaction is just to cry or to feel, especially as a woman too. Like, I feel like for men, it's much easier to be like, okay, this isn't going well right now, but it'll go well soon, right? Because as a woman, it's like, this isn't going well right now. What else is not gonna go well? Is it my fault? What am I doing wrong? Do I need to fix something? Especially as a high achiever person too. Sometimes I feel like I have high functioning anxiety. Well, anyway, to get to the point, the whole point of this video is just for me to document this time of my life in true honesty of what I've been going through for the past 3 years of college, and some of the things that I've learned and what I'm currently learning right now in this very moment. Like today, I really wanted to share that with you guys, because it's something that I've been struggling with for a few years now, ever since I did move to FAU to go to college. So to start off, I want to say that I have attained a lot of knowledge from podcasts, from books, and also my first language is not English. If you hear me with an accent or saying some words that are not right, my first language is Portuguese. I've been very blessed to be born and raised in Brazil, so that's another reason why I have a lot of things that I feel like I could share about life and about everything else. Yeah, so where do I start? So when I first moved to college, I was so excited. I was like, okay, this is definitely gonna be something new and different. I didn't really know what to expect, but I was in a phase of my life where I was like done with what I had going on. I finished high school. I lived in my high school town for 4 years, literally. Like, I've been moving around for middle school, for high school, and then I moved to college. So it was kind of like, I just felt it in my soul that I needed to move and that I needed to take a big leap and just start fresh and meet new people, meet new places, do something different, especially because I really wanted to get my degree, and I am almost finished now. But anyway, when I did move, it was more of like, okay, what's coming up for me? Like, what's gonna be like my next thing? Even though I always knew I wanted to do social media, I wanted to do modeling, I wanted to do wellness and health, just something that would help people, and not in a way where it's like, yeah, here, buy this thing and take this pill. Like, no, like I want to be, I'm helping you. You remember me and you think of me when you remember that, like, I helped you. Like, not in a way that's like, oh, yo, Sarah helped me, but it's like, Sarah taught me this and now I'm able to live this way because I've learned a lot of things with my own experiences. So that was just like a really big goal for me. Sorry, I know I move a lot. It's just, I like moving. Anyway, that was a really big goal for me, to go harder on social media, make new friends, take more pictures. And honestly, I achieved that. I'm really happy that I did. If you go on my Instagram right now, you will see that I used to have so many pictures and now I have more pictures, and I could say that they definitely got better quality, better clothes, better poses. I met some new friends that I was able to do things with, take pictures, and talk about my vision. You know, my freshman year of college was definitely really interesting because I just didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I had a vision of what I wanted, but I wasn't fully sure. It was kind of like I'm being introduced to these things and I want to know what feels right for me and what doesn't. And that's really what I did. What felt right stuck, what didn't. I love everyone that I've met, mostly everyone. I really appreciate all the people that have been in my life ever since that era. However, I believe that there are some people that are meant to teach you lessons, some people that you are meant to teach them something, and then, things go away, move on, time for new, right? One thing that did really affect me though was living alone. I want to talk about this because when I started to live alone for the first time ever in college, well, I had a roommate, but I didn't really know these people. Like, everybody was fresh and new to me. It wasn't like this is my family that I've knew about my whole life. No, this was people that I did not know and I'm just now getting introduced to. It was something very different for me because every day I didn't know what to expect. Every day something new is going to be happening. And honestly, I love stuff like that. I don't like routine. Maybe I like a routine for a week, or like I have a morning routine, but even that I change up. Some days I go for a walk. Some days I do a meditation. Some days I do yoga. Some days I just pray and read. And some days I do it all. It just depends. My routine isn't that constant. And it's something that I would say that college did help me with, though, because it's like the important things are always going to be getting done. And whatever is not important, leave it. But living alone, I started to realize that I was waiting for happiness to come to me. I was waiting to be happy, and I didn't know what I was waiting for. I just realized that I moved into a new place and I was feeling so anxious and depressed. And I was just like, wait, like, why am I feeling like this? Like, not actually depressed, but just not as happy as I could be. You know, we all have our happy moments. And I've always been a really happy person, but deep down in my soul for the longest time when I was like a kid and even a teenager, I just felt like there was like a burden on my back and I had to like deal with it until I got to a certain point. And it's like, okay, now you're happy. Now you have this so you can be happy. And I think that something that was in my head was like, when you move out of your house, you'll be happy. And not because of a bad family dynamic or anything. I guess it's just something subconsciously that it's like, well, when you have your own place and when you go to college, you'll be happy, right? And I honestly, that is the biggest lie, because you living with your parents is not stopping you from being happy. I'm not talking about abuse, or if you're genuinely getting abused, yeah, that is definitely going to affect your happiness. If you don't have privacy or freedom, that's going to affect your happiness. But what I'm trying to say is that if you are waiting for something to happen outside of you so you can feel good about life and yourself, that's not gonna happen. It's not. Yeah, like I said, if your environment is toxic, if you have toxic people around you, yes, it's an outside thing. But for me specifically, anywhere I went, I would have felt the same way because of the way my brain was set out to be. I was just like, when this thing happens, I'll be happy. But that thing is never going to happen. It's like you need to snap out of it yourself and in your brain and realize that happiness comes from within. You can have nothing and be happy, and you can have it all and be happy because it's all in your mindset. So that was my freshman year. That was when I realized that I just need to be happy now and not wait for when I graduate or when I get married or when I have a boyfriend or when I'm rich or when I buy this car, because that is not realistic. What I like to think is, if I was to die tomorrow, would I be happy with the way I lived my life? Would I be okay with my circumstances? If the answer is no, you need to change something. If the answer is no, you need to start doing something differently. And for me, the answer was no. I wasn't fully happy because I felt like I wasn't being who I was. I wasn't fully expressing myself. And not just that, I was hanging out with people and I was doing things that didn't fully align with who I was. And I was also really scared and anxious, and that's why I had to get closer to God. I've always had a good relationship with God, but not that good, because why do I get in a car and I'm thinking we're going to crash and I'm going to die? Like, I'm sorry if this is too much for you, but that is genuinely something that used to happen to me and go through my brain. I still do stuff like this, but out of faith and not fear. When I'm in a car, I'll pray, God, please bless everyone that's in this car and get us there and back safely. Before, God, please don't kill me or don't let me die. And it's like, why? You have to really understand the root of your trauma and understand that sometimes you feel that way because of deep-rooted anxiety that's in your nervous system. It's not even a thought thing. I had to start meditating and actually eating healthy, going for walks, what's the thing called? Breath work, to actually regulate my nervous system. If you had a traumatizing childhood, you're not just gonna simply get back in your adulthood and be like, oh yeah, everything's great. I mean, if you did that, that's amazing. I congratulate you right now. But me personally, I had to find out what was wrong with me, and then I had to fix it, because at the end of the day, nothing was ever wrong in the first place. I just had some additional things that should have never been added in the first place. And also, one thing that I will say too, I would have saved myself from a lot of bad experiences and bad moments in my freshman year if I would have just spoke up about what I like and dislike, and if I would have took the time to learn what I like and don't. Because as a freshman in college, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, especially if you're moving, if you're commuting, or I mean, if you're not commuting. I've been living on campus for a long time. So as a freshman who lives on campus, like, you are not with your family. You are not with the friends that you went to high school with. You're alone. You have to decide things on your own, and you have to figure things out. And not only that, you have to do your schoolwork. You have to make sure you're eating. I lost about 20 pounds my freshman year. I got COVID. I got an ovarian cyst. I had a pulmonary infection. And I'm not like that. I'm really a healthy human, and God's grace. Thank you, God. I'm always healthy and good. But I was so mentally depleted, not eating well, that I literally... And that's another thing too. Please make sure you get your nutrients. Ramen is not going to do anything for you, especially if you're in college. You need to be eating well if you're studying and waking up early for classes. I will say though that the gym has always been something that really helped me. Even in my worst days, I would still go to the gym, and sometimes on my worst days, that's all I wanted to do. So what I took from my freshman year: be happy now. Do what you gotta do. Decide what you don't want and stay away from that. Decide what you do want and follow things that will match that frequency and that vibration, so you can get to exactly where you want to be in due time. But if you are constantly going to places where you're not feeling okay, where you're not feeling loved and supported, where you're not feeling like you're thriving, it's not worth it. Don't go to places that you're not welcomed. There's a room full of people waiting for you to come in, and they're gonna congratulate you and love you and support you the same way that you love them. But if you keep going to the places that don't love you, how are you gonna make room for the new places? Anyways, take care of your health, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health. Keep your priorities in focus. That's something too that I always did as a freshman, not as a freshman. Your homework comes first. before going out. Like, that's just a fact. Like, if you have something due tonight, you should have done it by yesterday. If you have something due tomorrow, try to do it today. And I'm not trying to be like super harsh or anything. I'm just saying that because I am in college and I know what it's like to want to go out and have a homework due. If you know that that thing is due, get it done on time. Don't wait for the last second to get it done. What else was I going to say? Oh, just prioritize your own life and mental health. I actually have a list of things that I prioritize. I don't have it right in front of me right now. It's probably on my notes somewhere. But it starts with God, mental and physical health, school, work, relationships. Just make a list of things that you truly prioritize. And whenever you feel like you are lacking in any way, shape, or form, check that list. If you're not doing something right, you're gonna know. And honestly, that was really big for me too, because I know what's right and what's wrong. If I wake up and I do what's wrong, I'm already putting myself on the wrong path. And right and wrong, there are different perceptions of that. But that's why I said I know what's right and wrong. You're right and you're wrong is probably different from mine. But I'm not thinking about you right now because this is my life. So when you think about your right and wrong, you're going to know it in your heart and stomach. What should you do and what should you not do? If you're doing what you know you shouldn't be doing, then it's your fault if you get to somewhere you didn't want to be. Okay, so moving into my sophomore year, that was much, much better. I had a great time because I was just at a easier level mentally. Sophomore year, I was able to make new friends that I felt like I resonated with a lot. We had a vision for ourselves in our future. I was also taking a lot of pictures that year, going out to eat a lot. But however, I was struggling a little bit with money and being in college. That's something that is not talked about enough too, because no one talks about the fact that you have to do about 4, 5, 6 classes every day, whether that's online or not. Those classes still have to get done. And online, it's even harder sometimes because there's no one that you're physically seeing. There's no motivation to do it. It's like that thing on my computer, I just have to get it done. And I have a whole other things going on. I have to do laundry. I have to take a shower, do my hair. I have to breathe. I have to go outside, go grocery shopping, clean up my room, have a social life, talk to my family, make sure I'm eating, make sure I'm okay. And I still have to finish all these classes, understand what they're saying, get good grades, make sure I go into all deadlines. And I'm not trying to say that it's impossible. It's just a lot. And some people don't think of it in that aspect. They just think like, oh, you just have online classes. But no, sometimes that is very, very mentally draining. It's even spiritually draining sometimes, because especially if you're going through a lot, the last thing you want to do is look at a computer screen and force yourself to learn something. However, it's possible though, and you just have to have the will to do it, because if you want to graduate and you want to be somewhere, focus on that feeling. Like, that's literally what I've been doing, because I just can't not finish what I started and I wanted to finish it. If I start something and I realize this is not for me, I actually don't want it, okay, cool, move on. But if you start something and it's a little hard and now you're like, whoa, it's hard, so I'm gonna quit, I'm not even gonna say what you're being, but I'm sure you know. With the money situation, it's like a lot too, because there's a lot of options for work, but it's also a little hard when you are in college and you have to make time and room for other things. Like, I don't want to work, me personally, I don't want to work a Monday to Friday job from 8 to 5 when I'm in college. I don't. Like, I just can't do that. I would feel like I'm still in high school just for me to get home and do my homework. And then, okay, maybe I have the weekends off, which is cool, yeah. But I didn't do that my freshman or sophomore year. I had a retail job and then I got a serving job. But it's just a lot. Like, being in school and having to do all of this stuff is a lot. Especially because if you do a lot of things in your life and you understand about focus, you know that you have to be focused on one or the other in a specific moment for it to thrive. And me, like, sometimes I feel like I have a problem with focusing because I focus on too much things at once. Like, if I'm doing something in my room right now, I could be making breakfast and listening to a music video or a podcast. I'm cleaning up, I'm folding my clothes all at once. And I know that's not healthy. I'm trying to stop. But even then, right now, I'm doing multiple things at once with my hand and talking about different things. I just feel like once you are able to fully put your focus onto something, you can really grow. You can really make it grow. However, when you are in college, your focus is literally all over the place because there's so much going on. And honestly, it's not just college. I'm sure a lot of people go through this stuff too when they're doing like an esthetician school or anything like that. But one thing that I did learn for my sophomore year was where to put your focus. If you're putting your focus on bad things, you're going to experience bad things more and more often. If you're putting on your focus on good things, you're going to be experiencing more good things more and more often. And that's something that it was a huge lesson for me because my sophomore year, I had a much better environment around me, like not just people, but everything. Like I felt like the vibes were fresh and great. I was able to go to newer places. It was just something that I've always wanted to experience. But when I tell you guys, I set those intentions really, really, really well. The summer before sophomore year, I went home to my parents and it was just refreshing. I was by the pool. I was going on walks. I was journaling, reading, meditating. Like when I tell you, I got into the perfect alignment for what I wanted. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I just wanted to feel at peace. I wanted to finish my sophomore year knowing that I had fun, that I got it done, I learned, and it was fine. I'm not saying I didn't struggle, but I'm saying when I look back at it, it feels like I did it. Yes, I had bad days, especially financially too. Like being a college student, especially with the credit card, please learn about credit cards because if you don't, you're probably going to get scammed because you don't know what you're doing. I feel like it's really easy to get lost in things you don't know at a certain age, especially when you don't go and do your research, because I definitely could have done my research when it comes to that stuff and I didn't because I was just like, it'll come to me one day or I'll get it one day. But please understand that your credit score is really important, and so is your balance on credit cards and everything else, and so is your savings, and so is investing. All that stuff is really important. Before I even came to college, I actually got into investing a little bit and I bought high. I didn't sell, but I bought really high, and that was like a great lesson for me too. Like I feel like this video is really all over the place, but I just wanted to tell you guys where I'm at, and that's where I'm at right now. For sophomore year though, I was learning to put my focus onto the right things. That did so much for me because even in the midst of the terrible circumstances or having like a maxed out credit card, I was still like, God got me, I got myself. I am waking up every day and doing the best that I can, and that's all I have to do. And also like learning from your mistakes and not just pushing things with your stomach. That's like a Brazilian saying that like if there's an issue and you're just like ignoring the issue, like your stomach is like right there and you're like right there, and then the issue is like right there and you're just like, don't do that. Pick that issue up and figure it out, because if you keep pushing it with your stomach, it's gonna get so big that you're not gonna be able to solve it. And once you do have the time to solve it, it's gonna be bigger than you thought and you could have avoided it. But however, everything is a lesson, and I am glad to be where I am today. I'm glad for all the mistakes that I made, honestly. Like I really can sit here and say I don't regret anything, because and like that's so weird to say because there's stuff in my head that's like, what about that one thing? And it's like, no, because now I know so much better. If I didn't do that, how would I have known? I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I know now. And honestly, how was my sophomore year summer before junior year? That summer was cool. I definitely had some trials and tribulations, but that summer was a test of faith, literally. I can tell you guys one thing that happened that summer. was I had a flight booked to Brazil, like literally a $1,500 ticket to Brazil, and my passport hadn't come in yet. I was like, my whole family's going. It's gonna be both of my grandma's birthday. One of them is gonna be 70, the other one's 80. I hadn't seen them in like 3 years. And if you know anything about Brazil and traveling, and you can't just go there once a month. You have to plan it well, and you have to take days off. It's a long flight. When I tell you, my passport did not come until literally the day of the trip. I was very confused. I was like, it's fine. I'll just take the L. I'll have to rebook my flight, something. My sister was like, oh, you should just come with us. And then once your passport comes, you'll get it shipped to you. And I was like, And I was like, okay. But that was eating me up, because if I go to Brazil without my passport, I can't step foot back in here unless I have the passport in my hand. Now, if you ship that to me, how do I have the guarantee that that's going to get to me? So I was like really taking the L. They took the trip on June 26th, I think. And the same day, I was just like freaking out. I was like, fine, like I'm not going. If it gets here in 2 days, I'll take the trip. I'll rebook the flight. I'll go alone. But if it doesn't, like I would just have to take the L. Well, my family went. They were literally in the airport sending me pictures, and I'm just like suitcase packed. I have days off from work, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I go somewhere else? Do I go to work? So I went to the mail people, and I was like, the same lady who helped me order the passport. I was like, hey, like, you told me my passport would get here this day, and it didn't. And is there anything we could do about that? Why does she check the mail checker? The passport had gotten at my house the same day at 10 a.m. So I drove all the way to my parents' house, picked it up, rebooked my flight on the road, paid like an extra $500, but like thank God I had the money because I really wanted to go, and rebooked it. I got to go. I got to see my whole family. I went alone, which honestly maybe it was better. I've never traveled alone like that far. I literally just felt like so grown and mature. All that happened. Junior year was honestly like a great year for me, because summer before junior year was a great summer. That's what I meant to say, because I was just relaxed. I was able to really test my faith. I also turned 21 that summer, and I started going to church. That really did change my life. Ever since I started going, I felt like things were just connected, because this is how I grew up. I grew up Catholic. I believed in God. I prayed every morning and night, but I didn't have a deep, strong connection with God. I would go to church later on when I was like 14, 15, whatever, and I just craved the connection so bad. I was like, what is happening? Why can't I feel what other people are feeling? Like, I want to feel Jesus too. And it didn't happen until I was honestly like reading a lot of books and going out of my way to seek God and seek faith. Because going to church is cool. Like, you can go to church and go out of your way to seek God, but sometimes that doesn't work for everyone, depending on the church too. I had gone to a couple of different churches, but it wasn't until I grew my own relationship with God, my own faith, like deep internally, like within myself, that I was able to finally go to a church that I love now. I go to Victory Church in Boca Raton, and it's so amazing. All right, let's wrap this story up. It's summer of sophomore year or junior year. It was the summer before junior year. Just learning things, experiencing things. I had a great time that summer, though. I met some really cool people. I got to do fun things and go to church, turn 21. It was a great time, but then that is really when things started to like crumble for me. Like, I don't know what happened. I think that this is gonna sound bad, but I think that when you really start to like be with God, it's like things will really test you and try you. Because when I tell you that junior year was the hardest year of my life, freshman year was hard, but it was because I didn't really know what I wanted, and I was just confused. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't respect myself fully and love myself fully, but now I do. And once you love yourself fully and you respect yourself fully and things happen to you, it hits different because it's like, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person. And sometimes you can't think like that. It's like, why is this happening to me? No. What is this bringing for me? What is this teaching me? And that's honestly what I have learned throughout my junior year. That no matter what you're going through, you always have a choice. What are you going to do about it? It's always about your reaction. And the biggest thing for me for my junior year was my living situation. So if you go to FAU, you know how hard it is to get housing here and how hard it is to get a good housing, especially now that like so many people are coming in. And for me, like I'm getting older, like I need to get my own place out of campus so the new people can come in, right? So last year I didn't get a place. I was waitlisted with another 10,000 students, right? But luckily enough, me and my roommate, that's been my roommate for 3 years, Maria, I love you. Thank you for being my roommate. She and I, we were so excited because we got housing and a lot of people didn't. So we were like, yeah, we're so lucky. Of course we got housing. And I still feel like we're lucky. You know, if I hadn't gotten this place, I would have had to figure something out about either another place or I don't know. I would have had to figure something out, but I did get this place. However, they gave us a room with 2 beds, and we're both 21 years old. Like we've had, like last year, we didn't share a room. Freshman year, I shared the room for a little bit, and she also shared the room. But after you have your own room, like freshman year, you do that because it's like, cool, like I want to meet new people, I want to have a roommate. But after it's like, no, like I'm ready to do my own thing and be alone. I definitely feel like it affects me more than it affects her because she's not here as much, and I'm also like very big with my living space. Like this is my safe space. This is my safe place, safe space. If I need to cry, if I need to run, if I need to scream, this is where I'm coming to. And not having to share your space with another energy is really, really frustrating because if I'm having a bad day, I don't want to make your day bad because I'm having a bad day, but I want to cry about it. And I can't cry about it outside because I live in here, you know? And at the same time too, like sometimes I just want to be alone, or sometimes I feel like she wants to be alone, but there's nowhere for me to go. So it's honestly just a lot, especially being a junior too. Like my life is growing every day. I'm learning new things every day. So for me to have to share that with someone, it's overwhelming sometimes because usually if I wake up and I'm having a bad day, that's on me. But like now, if I wake up and I'm having a bad day, there's someone else in here. Like I need to collect myself. And I honestly feel like that's been really, really helpful for me because not only because I love Maria and she's one of my great, great friends, like I honestly consider her like my sister, but also because I feel like there's gonna be other times in life where I'm gonna have to deal with someone this close. And the fact that I'm going through this now with someone that I genuinely love, because you guys are probably like, why didn't you guys switch rooms? You could have moved somewhere else. But I'm not a quitter. Let's start there. Especially if it's something with one of my friends, like it did not feel right for me to be like, oh, they give us a room together, I'm leaving, you stay. Or for me to be like, let's find somewhere else. Like, it was basically like, wow, this is our situation right now, and we're gonna do the best out of it. With the day passing though, it's like every day is different. Yes, I still have that mentality of doing the best with it, but some days it's definitely harder than others. If you appreciate your living space as much as I appreciate mine, you know how important it is to wake up in your own bedroom with your own stuff and look around and be like, but since this is a campus and a school and there's just so much going on at all times, life doesn't even feel normal sometimes. Like when I go to my parents' house, I'd be like, wow, y'all living nice. And they're literally just eating dinner at the dinner table. It's insane because being in a college dorm, it makes your life feel like not real. It's like, what am I doing right now? Is this even like a regular life? But then again, what is a regular life? You know, that's something that I've had to come to terms with. I don't want to live a regular life. And what I'm going through right now is shaping me for what I asked for. It's helping me become the person that I want to be, whether it is by having to collect myself in the mornings and not freak out. Because what I mean by that is I am really big on my morning routines. I like waking up alone so I can get my energy together and by myself. But when you wake up and you're not alone and your energy isn't together, it's harder to put it together. And yes, I over exaggerate things a little. I feel really deeply, so I don't expect everyone to understand this. But if you do, you know what I mean. Like, you need to be alone to get yourself together. However, though, like, I will say that having someone with me has really helped me. Not someone, having Maria with me, because if it was honestly anyone else, I probably would have moved and I probably would have gotten a new place. But where I'm at right now is I'm about to finish my junior year in like 2 months. And instead of waking up and being like, oh, I have to share my room, this place is so dark, and like I could be living in a much better living space right now, especially because I love content creating. If you heard anything about this video, you should have heard that. And I feel like I don't have enough space in here. Sometimes I feel like I'm like a guinea pig in a hamster's cage. And I've said that multiple times to multiple of my friends. And even like a dog, like a Great Dane in a freaking, a little cat cage. Like, I need space to thrive. I like waking up, pacing around, walking around. But even as I speak, I realize that this place has served me it served me for months. Like, I've been here for all these months. I've come here to sleep. I've ate here. I did my homework. I cried. I laughed. And I just feel like appreciating where you are in life is so important, because you are not going back there. Like, you are never going back. Never, ever. And that's something that I really struggle with, because I feel so deeply. And in the moment too, like, I'm very huge on living in the moment. But since I live in the moment so hard sometimes, I'm like, is this all there is? Like, where's my mansion? And like, yeah, I know I'm gonna be living in a mansion one day. In God's will and grace, I will. But right now, this is what I have, and I need to be okay with it. And when I say I need to be okay with it, it's not just like, oh, fine, I get to sleep here. No. Like, you get to sleep here. People would die to be sleeping somewhere with a shelter. And I only say it like that because I know that there are people with much, much worse circumstances. And I'm not the one that's going to be like, it could be worse, because it could be better. But it's not better yet, and it's not worse yet. So it's like, what are you going to do to make it better? And what are you going to do to make it worse? One thing I could tell you right now that I've been doing to make it worse is just focusing on the negative. And I could definitely, told you guys, I learned from my sophomore year, if you focus on the good, it'll be more good. Whether you're in a dumpster or in the trenches, there is always going to have one good thing, whether that's a butterfly or a cookie. And I love butterflies and cookies. So if that's all I could get, I'm focusing on that. I am. And that's why I'm making this video, because I feel like it's so easy to get rooted in a loop where you're like, I hate this place, I hate this time of my life. And it's like, no, there are so many good things for me that I could think right now in this moment that I'm happy about. My friends, my family's healthy right now. I have a family member who just finished her cancer therapy. I have friends, my little cousins who are going to school. I have little cousins that are being born. There's just so much greatness to focus on. But if you're letting the smaller aspect of your life destroy your whole mentality, you're never going to get out of there. And honestly, another thing that really, really is hard for me too is the pressure from society. Because right now I'm actually unemployed, and I'm unemployed because I want to work for something that I love and that I can make money from. About 2 months ago, I was working 2 jobs while going to school. I got to save some money. I got to pay off some things that I needed to pay off. And now I'm at the point where it's like, I know what I like and what I want to do. And that is what I'm working towards. Whether I'm there or not, or I'm there, I'm working towards something. And that's what I have to focus on. A lot of people are not going to understand what you're working towards, because 1, they don't understand your vision. 2, they've never worked towards anything. 3, they don't have a vision. So it's hard for them to see you work and think, and it's like, they're just a dreamer. They're just delusional. No, because all the other stuff that I've dreamed about, I've gotten it. So what makes you think that I wouldn't get what I'm dreaming about now when I'm much more confident and much more faithful and much more knowledgeable? And that's another thing too that is so important, to ask for wisdom. Seek wisdom and seek knowledge, because sometimes you're not getting what you want because you don't know about it. You don't know how to get it. And yeah, I really wanted to document this phase of my life to tell you guys that everyone struggles, and I struggle every day. Every day. The only thing is how my perspective keeps me going, because I know that everyone else is struggling, and I've struggled before, probably harder, no, definitely harder, because I didn't have the mentality that I have now. Like before, when I would feel things, I would think it's the end of the world. Now I know it's just an emotion. Emotional is something that we all have. Some people are more emotional than others, but being emotional is okay too. As long as you learn how to deal with your emotions, you will be fine. I said the society thing, I just wanted to really emphasize that sometimes people are not going to understand what you're doing. And me, I feel like a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing, but I do. And even though some days it feels like I don't, I do, because I know where I want to be, and I have a relationship with God, and I'm letting him guide me through things. The only time where I don't understand what I do is when I think about what other people want me to do, because these people don't even know what they want for themselves. So don't try and let them tell them what you want, because you know better than them. If you are actively working to get to where you want to be, don't let randoms tell you that you can't get there because you don't have a regular job. First of all, a regular job, if that's not in your plan, you can do better. If that's not what I say about a regular job is like a 9 to 5, which is completely fine if you want a 9 to 5, but I don't. And sometimes I feel really, really judged, because I'm like, oh, like if I don't have a regular job, am I even successful? But it's like, who made up those rules? Like, can we just make our own rules while not hurting anyone or hurting yourself? But yeah, so this is where I'm at in my life right now. I'm figuring my things out, and that's another thing too that I want to stop saying, like getting my shit together, because it's already together. I am breathing, I am alive, I am eating, I have a place to live, I have a family, I have friends who love me, I have a car too. Like, a lot of people can't say all of those things. Look at the things you have and be grateful for them, because some people don't have it all, and some people have it all and they don't even have health. And that is something that I could say I have, and you probably have too. If you are watching this in some way, shape, or form, you have eyes, you have hands, you have your breath. So please lock in with me in this phase of my life right now. I'm going to start documenting more of my days and my mind and how I actually feel and think, because things be going crazy over here, but I have it under control. It's like, I honestly love how things are just like all over the place, but I'm like, so yeah, I would love to share more of that with you guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you got to this point, I really appreciate you. Throw like a heart for me like this, so I know you got to this point. I love you guys for watching, and I love you for finding me. Have a good day. Stay focused on the good.